Hey y'all, I'm Bryn. Today we're going to talk about the Wheel of Fortune. So I don't know about all of you, but the Wheel of Fortune showed up a lot for me in 2020. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case for others with everything that was going on in the world. In my personal practice, I pulled this card way more than any other card. And as a Capricorn sun, Taurus moon, I had to just laugh at my earth sign need to control everything and feel stability around me, because that definitely was something that none of us really had this year. But enough about me. We're talking about the Wheel of Fortune today. And so when the Wheel of Fortune comes up, a lot of the time you'll hear this sort of old school interpretation of it that says good fortune is on the way. But I think there's a lot more to this card, so let's dig into it. So first off, let's talk about the symbolism of the card. Now this card is incredibly rich in symbolism, and we're just gonna scratch the surface here. This will just be a little symbolism 101, because there's a lot to cover and I'm not an expert. My hope is that this will whet your appetite to do some further research, because there's a lot of really great resources out there. So we're gonna look at the classic Rider-Waite-Smith version of the card. Let's first take a look at the characters that populate this card. On the outer corners, you have the 4 fixed zodiac symbols: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And each one of them is reading a scroll. They represent wisdom and stability, and they also link us to the 4 elements: earth, fire, water, and air. Inside the wheel, we have the alchemical symbols for salt, sulfur, water, and mercury, which are in turn the foundations of the 4 elements and therefore the foundation of life itself. On the wheel, we have the 4 Hebrew letters that make up the name of God, and we also have the letters T, A, R, and O. So these letters can be arranged in a bunch of different ways and make up the sentence Rota, Tarot, Orat, Torah, Ator. Or the Wheel of Tarot speaks the law of eternal life. Or the law of death and rebirth, however you want to translate that. So are you still with me? I know, this is a meaty card. There's a lot going on here. And we haven't even talked about the figures riding the outside of the wheel yet. Here we have the Sphinx, Anubis, and the snake, who represents the Egyptian god Typhon. And these 3, representing respectively strength and intelligence, death, and evil, they're just chilling. They're riding the wheel, they're taking the ups and downs in stride. So now that we have a basic picture of what's going on this card itself, who's populating this world, let's take a look at where the Wheel of Fortune falls in the Major Arcana. So the Wheel of Fortune is card number 10, which makes it the 11th card if you're counting the Fool as the first card of the 22 cards of the Major Arcana. This puts the wheel right at the midpoint of the Fool's journey. The function of the wheel, the lessons of the wheel, are always going on in the background of all of the cards. It's present. The turning of the wheel is always happening. But here at the midpoint, we're being given the opportunity to look directly at it. We have the chance to learn the lessons of the wheel now before we keep going any further on the journey, or we're going to carry the weight of it with us through the next 11 cards. Either way, the first lesson of the wheel is that there is no standing still. Okay, so now we have a ton of foundational information, but what is the wheel actually about? I want to discuss 3 key aspects of this card. Everything has its season, everything is connected, and how do we find ourselves in the midst of it all? As I mentioned before, the wheel is always turning. Even when we're not thinking about it, it's there. The wheel is life. It's the changing of seasons and the shifting of fortunes. It's the turbulent times and those magical moments that we wish we could live in forever. It's all the things that we don't have control over in this life. It's the reminder that everything changes. And that's the one thing that we can be sure of. There's one kind of old school way of interpreting this card that says, good fortune is on the way. Essentially, it sees the wheel as a herald of good news. And that's true in the sense that at some time in the future, there will be good news. That's the point of the wheel, is that no state is permanent. Everything changes. The good times come and go, as do the bad. And the opportunity we're being given when we pull the Wheel of Fortune is to be fully present in whatever is going on for us right now, right in the here and now, knowing that nothing is final, knowing that there will be change, that things are going to go up and down. If we're in a rough patch, take heart, know that this isn't forever. If we're in this boom time, amazing, enjoy it, live it up, but also don't let it go to your head. It won't last forever. Wherever you are on the wheel, the invitation is to just ride it cool as Anubis. There's this famous quote, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror, just keep going. No feeling is final. That is big wheel energy, a full-on call to be present in whatever life has to offer. Another lesson of the wheel is that all things are connected in these beautiful, intricate, unknowable patterns. That there's systems so much larger than us at play that we're subject to. We are nature, and we're deeply embedded in the natural world and its cycles. We're subject to global socio-political and economic systems. And then there's magic and the mystery of the divine. There is so much outside of us going on around us that we might not even be able to see, that has so much to do with life and how we move through this world. We're all part of this, but the wheel asks us to let go of our need to know everything. And this isn't a call to ignorance by any means, but it is a reminder that there are just things that are outside of our capacity of knowing. So we can trust in the connection of all things, but turn our attention towards our own beautiful little messes. And then by doing so, not only are we happier because we let go of all the noise and trying to know and control things that are outside of our ability to know or control, but we also create some beauty and harmony in our little point within this grander connection of everything else, which has implications throughout the system, the whole system. The moral of everything that the wheel is trying to teach us is that there's very little that is within our control. So much of life is happening outside of us. The wheel is always turning. Change is the only guarantee. So maybe the greatest lesson of the wheel is to be able to return to ourselves in the midst of all of this. What is it that you do have control over? Where is your steady center in the midst of constant change? When things feel like they're spinning out of control, can you come back to that place within you? Sometimes things fall apart. Sometimes we have to navigate discomfort. This is part of life. This is part of growing. This is how we learn about ourselves and who we truly are. Sure, we can all be happy clams when it's all smooth sailing, but who are we when we have to navigate discomfort, when things aren't going our way? Who are we then? The wheel is turning endlessly around us, but the work and the lessons of the wheel, those take place deep within. The more that we can root down into ourselves, into our autonomy, the more we're actually able to just freely flow with the turnings of the wheel. And so over the next couple weeks, I'll have meditation and movement videos to tap into this a little bit to help us bring this work into our bodies. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, maybe start to explore your own relationship with the wheel. How are you doing with the ups and downs of life, and what does that bring up for you? Try to meet whatever comes up without judgment. Just take it in. Just observe what this brings up for you. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Let me know what it brought up for you in the comments. I always love to hear from you. Until next time.